Hi, I'm Will.
And I'm Risa, and this is Talent Talk.
On today's show, we have incredible entertainer Canaan Cox, but before we get to our interview with him,
you have to check out his latest single, As You Leave.
Log 422, December 18th. I ran as much power as I could to the portal, seeing no signs of it opening. I had to redo most of the wiring after the snowstorm, but luckily I had some extra cables in the shed, so got that wrapped up pretty quick. I've also attempted countless algorithms, but my software can't seem to detect whether the variable is me as a solid matter or time as a... how do you explain time? I haven't seen one of them since I put up the barrier, but a tree did fall through the west fence, so probably just be a matter of days. I remember that tree. We hid under it when we got caught in that crazy storm. God, I miss you.
Staring at you in my t-shirt. Don't know how you look so good in the AM. Grab your phone and call into work. You know you could just stay all day in my bed. If you gotta go, you gotta go. But if you gotta go, you gotta know. As soon as you leave, yeah, the clock stops ticking. You take the song with you and the world quits spinning. Every second feels like waiting on a green light. All I wanna do is rewind. You and me kissing, I'm wishing there was no distance, because the missing you starts hitting me as soon as you leave. Girl, I know you might be thinking I need some time, a night out with the boys. Let me share a little secret. All I need is more of you. I'll be cool if you never left. As soon as you leave, yeah, the clock stops ticking. You take the song with you and the world quits spinning. Every second feels like waiting on a green light. All I wanna do is rewind. You and me kissing, I'm wishing there was no distance, because the missing you starts hitting me as soon as you leave.
well, hello, Canaan. How are you?
Doing just fine. How are y'all?
Canaan, we are doing so much better now that we are with you on this edition of Talent Talk. I love the little boop. Listen, speaking of a big, amazing boop, look at that segue. You're welcome. Talk to me about the impetus behind not only you writing As You Leave, but also the whole concept behind the music video.
Yeah, I mean, that was actually one of my first major writes in Nashville with some pretty great guys, Scott Stepakoff and Jason Gant, who are on all kinds of great music. Check them out. And that kind of song started with my wife we were doing long distance, and just, it was one of those things where when we did see each other, it was simple, like she was leaving, and, like just going to the grocery store for 5 seconds. And I was like, I missed you. Like, I missed you. And she's like, oh my God, whatever. And so, I mean, that's just, obviously that's where the song came about. And so we ran with it that day, and it came out really, really great, obviously, in the sense of the love from all the streams, Spotify, Amazon, all of the fun stuff that it's just taken off from all the other songs previously that I've released. And as far as the video goes, I know we talked a little bit before we jumped on here about my theater degree, and it plays a lot into the music videos, and I sometimes even goes into my writing a little bit as well, of like, okay, cool, if the camera does this, and then like, what would happen here in the second verse, or like, what would that be, And so the song is just an epic song. It's very it's just a big song. I mean, it's very relatable in the lyric sense as far as just what it's saying, but the production is just like this epic stuff. And when I think of my music videos, I always try to pick out like just one song. I'm sure my family has probably heard it before even release 843 times, because I will listen to the song and listen to the song and listen to the song and just see like what ideas come up as far as video concepts. And it was the line, you took the sun with you and the world quit turning. And I was just like, what would actually happen if the sun quit turning? Like, what would happen if the world just stopped? And I Googled it and did some crazy research, and like, who knows if what's going to, but it was utter chaos. And basically they said like gravity would go insane and things would start floating, and we would basically just float into the atmosphere and die. And I was like, okay, cool. That's a cool concept. Like that's you know, like as soon like she walks out the door and then just all like, but then again, I'm still on a very independent budget. So I had to do what I had to do. So I wrote like, I don't know, 3 or 4 different treatments for it. And I just kind of landed on this kind of thing. And the song talks about time, you know, you take Sun with you and the world quit spinning. I'm waiting on a green light. It's all this very Christopher Nolan-esque themes. And I was like, okay, cool. So how do we, you know, do this on a budget by myself with my resources of my wife and child? And
well, it's so great. And I want to jump on something that you said, like when your wife leaves for 2 minutes, you miss her. I think if this is a funny joke, but when I first moved to Nashville and I was married and my husband lived in New York, and I joked that I was dating my husband, like, you know, because when you have that long distance on the road thing, you're like, we're dating, we're married, what's going on? Like, and you know what I mean? And that, I think like a lot of songs come out of that. So segueing into my question is, where do you find your inspiration to write? Have you always been a writer and a singer? And how did you come to land here? Where's here? To land in Nashville?
I'm in my kitchen.
Your kitchen.
Yeah. I mean, my family always, like my mom plays in a band. I think she still kind of does. Like she like stopped and just like around like North Carolina and South Carolina, just like kind of the bar stuff. So I grew up around that. Dad wrote a lot. So when I first like picked up the guitar, him and I would just, you know, sing. He's a good old like country writer, just 3 chords and beer and boots and Jesus, you know. And I'm like, okay, cool, let's write that. So I've always been kind of immersed in it and played, like, learn how to play the mandolin and the fiddle and stuff like that. But it wasn't until probably college that I started writing. I would always write. I always liked to write, not just songs, but just in general, like short stories and fun stuff and coming up with cool stuff like that. But then it wasn't until college that gotten, you know, around certain musical people and certain things. Like, yeah, you should write a song. I'm like, okay. And I released an actual entire album in college that no one will ever hear.
Why not?
No.
When you become famous, like really famous, you already are famous, by the way. You already are famous.
No, I understand. When I get there, I'll be like, hey guys, here's an NFT of this.
Smart.
Boom. Here's this old ass thing. Here you go. I'll send you a copy. When I'm in New York next, me and my wife want to come to New York at Christmas time this year. So I'll bring you a nice copy of Canaan Cox.
I'm going to hold you to it. I'm going to hold you to it.
I have a whole box of CDs downstairs in my dad's basement. So,
I love it.
But yeah, well, it wasn't the writing stuff. Well, it didn't come till later, but performance-wise, you know, I came from a big family, 7 sisters and a brother, and I always kind of give them credit for being my audience. I always like to say, like, I love to be the center of attention in a good way. It's almost like, okay, everyone, the lights have been off. Here we go. Here's Aladdin from the top, you know? And so
I think we should all be graced with that show at some point.
Yes.
At some point. Yeah, the one-man show of Aladdin. I can get up to the part where he jumps, or, you know, blah, 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 street rat, you'll die of street rat, and all your fleas will mourn you. And then, and then he sings his little Abu song, and then it cuts to the tiger. And then I can get it all the way there. So I probably
That's a pretty good amount.
We'll get you a teleprompter. We'll get you sticky notes all over. Canaan Cox, we can speak with you forever. But, you know, we do have a question that we've been waiting all but a few minutes to ask.
Yeah.
Canaan Cox, are you ready for game time?
I'm so ready. Do we have music? Game time.
Well, hello, Canaan Cox. It is your lucky day because today's game is the questions game. And Risa, my better half in Nashville, has our questions book. Risa, take it away.
Oh my God, I'm
Well,
nervous.
Canaan, this is where we get to learn even more fun things about you. Do you have a favorite number, a number of significance?
42.
Oh, great. Can I ask why?
It was just my football number.
Well, that's very significant. Here we go. This is question number 42. Huh, it's funny. Okay, what popular vacation destination has no interest for you? Just not interested.
Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah.
How come? How come?
I like my money. And I've been to Vegas before, but like only to play a show. So we either like fly in, play, and go out. But
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
and we walked the strip and we did it, and I was just like, "That's it." Like, people just come here. I mean, and I don't know if it's even watching. Like, go do your thing.
No.
I think there's a song in there. Don't go to Vegas.
Don't go to Vegas. Yeah,
well,
I like my.
it's funny because I feel like there's good places to play. I've played in Vegas, and there's good places to play. But once you get paid for that show, do you want to throw that money away? And I understand.
Yeah. So I like my money.
Well, that was fun, Canaan. And before we let you go, Risa and I each have a bonus question. Mine is having to do with what the audience can expect next from you. Are you working on any certain songs, any certain upcoming EPs, albums? Me, selfishly, I want you to write a musical at some point. Lay it on us.
Don't get me started there. I've got like 2 ideas. Obviously, we'll talk later after this. But yes, we are. Last year, the end of it, we laid out everything that we wanted to do. As You Leave, obviously, was the start. I've started to promote on my Instagram and TikTok that we have a new song, Joy, coming out. Joke's on You. That was the acronym there. Coming out April 1st. It is coming out on April 1st. That's not a joke, but it's not an April Fool's.
But I'm bummed.
Yeah, everyone on TikTok's like, "Are you going to actually drop this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I swear on my life, the pre-save is there. Go pre-save it." Yeah, but we have a couple more songs this year, and then we actually just had a conversation of like what comes after that. You know, Spotify has its own little algorithm and its own little thing, and you kind of just gotta play to it. And so we're doing. And I don't want to like say too much or anything, but yeah, there's more music to come within this first half a year, and then I'm sure I'll get bored and release something else.
So exciting.
Well, you are just so entertaining. We've never met in person, but I have watched you online on socials, and I from a songwriter's point of view, I just love the pictures that you're painting in your songs. You're so visual. So I'm just really getting excited to watch and see like what's next for you. And my question is, as far as like the road, there's no right or wrong to this, but on the road, do you see yourself, do you give yourself like 3-6 month year goals of like, I'd love to open for or be hanging out with these people as I perform, you know? Do you have any dreams in that world? I'd love to know.
Nothing in the sense of, I think, you know, earlier before I moved to Nashville, I had those like, you know, 5-year goals and I think that's just common and good to have. And then once you get into it and you're actually in it, you kind of understand like what it actually, you know, not could be, or like, oh, I'll never be able to do this, but just you kind of understand like, oh, cool. Here I am. I'm not going to open for Thomas Rhett tomorrow. You know what I mean? And so right. It's one of those things, but you know, like the stuff to get there is like, cool, I can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so definitely I'm very much a big like law of attraction, affirmations, write your gratefuls, write down what you want, you know, all of that kind of stuff. So definitely have those goals in mind. And it's just kind of cool to see how real they become. Like when you write them down, it's like, okay, cool. And then in the process, and not to like blow smoke on my own butt, but like hard work pays off. And yeah, and it's just kind of cool the closer you get. Perfect example, I'm gonna like name any names, but I wrote down in 2018, I have a journal every year. Like, so as soon as the year ends, I start a new journal. And it's like my to-do list, just random stuff, like whatever. And sometimes I write my goals and, you know, all those kind of things down. And then we actually had a meeting last week with someone I really wanted to talk to. And I had written down that company like 2.5 years ago. And I actually wrote like 6 companies, researched them all like a sociopath, and then listed them out in order of which I would love to talk to them. And it was the first one on the list was,
I mean,
yeah.
and
And
you're
so
speaking mine and Risa's language. I mean, selfishly for me, to my own home. When in my performing years, I was 10 and I knew that one day I would perform at Carnegie Hall. God bless America. And a few years ago, my twin brother and I, Anthony, who actually lives in Nashville, we no longer perform together, but that became a reality because I wrote it down. Risa, I know that for you, it's the same thing, my love.
It's the same thing. We can go into story upon story, but I'm so visual that like, I feel like what you put out, the energy that you put out there while you're working hard leads you to, you call it in. I mean, I think we're all saying the same thing, like you're calling it in because you're working your butt off. Mine was such a weird thing. It was a tour bus. And I thought, oh, in order to be on that, I have to have, this is weird. I have to have these several things happen, but so weird. Like it snowed and so weird. And our show got canceled. We didn't know how to get there. We were opening for Ronnie Millsap and he was in Florida. We're in Nashville. And the only thing that was available was a tour bus of a friend's that they let us borrow, which was identical to the picture that I had on my wall, to the paint job, to everything. And it's like, but it doesn't happen all the time. But when it happens and it's dead on like that, you're like, what?
Yeah.
Someone's
talking, someone's talking.
It's also just about vibrations. I mean, look at Canaan. I'm in this, and Risa, like Canaan's like looking at me, yelling at you. Like I've known Risa forever, so she's like a sister to me. So like I could be like, don't apologize. Canaan be like, what's up?
This was aggressive.
This was that was a little bit of an aggressive tone. No, but my love for her is beyond. But God bless. As now for you, Canaan, and I agree that this whole notion now more than ever over these past 2 years, we as humans, but also we as artists, have had to really investigate the superfluous. We're on this planet a short time. The business is tough enough. We might as well play in the sandbox with people with the same vibration,
Yeah,
100%. I love that.
Yeah.
I don't know. That just spilled out.
I like it. It was great. Write it down. Put it on a t-shirt.
Bam. Well, listen, Canaan Cox, Risa and I are so grateful that you joined us today for Talent Talk. Now wait for the next time.
Same.